Like, you know, right, so imagine all four of us are involved in a road life, yeah? He stabs someone, he's not getting out. Simple, as simple as that. Because once he's drawn blood from somebody else, his whole friendship group, his uncle, his cousin, they're all coming for this guy. And then I'm friends with him, they're coming for me as well because I'm his friend, you know what I mean? So he's stabbed someone now, there's no getting out. He's knees deep in. So that's when, you know, once they stab someone, they know, I'm not getting out. That's when it gets worse, they progressively get worse. When you tell someone, oh, you don't want to do this life, you don't want to do this life, that won't work. You know, it goes through one ear and comes out the other kind of thing. Yeah. You gotta like kind of instill something, give someone hope.
Nottinghamshire Police is the only force outside the capital to have a dedicated knife crime unit.
Nearly 900 incidents involving knives were recorded in Nottinghamshire last year, compared to 794 the previous 12 months.
My first year in the UK, I lived in the city centre, and I remember it was sometime a few weeks into the first term, an international student from NTU was stabbed just around the corner from where I lived.
A couple of friends were just down by Collick Hall, by the lakes. Lovely, lovely, you know, there were families out there camping, that sort of stuff. I was attacked stabbed 5 times, sorry. Died twice, spent 8 weeks in intensive care. That's when, you know, I realised, you know, if I could change one kid's perception on carrying a knife, me being saved was worthwhile.
The causes of knife crime are varied and diverse, and it's about looking at all the different things that are making the situations bad and finding positive solutions for them.
We meet the needs of students who have been either excluded or at risk of exclusion from mainstream education. And the students that we have here are involved in the gang culture of Nottingham. Personally, I have had a student arrested in my office for hiding a knife. I have had students that have been arrested and injured for machete attacks. We've had students that have been incarcerated in prison due to knife crime. What we do at Stone Soup Academy is then try and educate and support our students to walk away from that involvement. What can we do that is positive around knife crime? How can we give a different ending to the story? What we hear in the headlines is about people and young people dying as a victim of knife crime. Wouldn't it be great to see a story in the press that talks about a young person saved a victim of knife crime and actually then gave some real positivity to the idea that young people can make a difference? It might not be in the way that we originally thought about, but actually, isn't this even better?
Do you think if people did know how to do first aid properly, would they have
a lot of people, I would say, it depends who you're asking to do it and who knows how to do it. Everyone knows how to do it. In most cases, I guess, someone would do first aid because, you know, if someone gets stabbed, normally the guy that stabbed is not just going to stand there, is he? He's trying to go away to not get arrested, obviously. So I think if you put all of us in one area, you get stabbed, and all of us know how, he might run, he might run, he might run, and I might know how to do it. We all know how to do it, but these lot might run just thinking, oh shit, well, then I come to you and I know how to do it. And that's a life saved, so.
The interviews that I've done with young people and hearing their stories about how knife crime has touched their lives, I feel like it's almost our responsibility to do something. So our project uses virtual reality to create an immersive experience around the topic of what does it mean to save a life. It's really important to remember that with our project, we won't be showing any blood, any gore, any screams or anything which could be triggering, but the student will know a knife incident happened. This is where the student would then take off the headset, they'd then be doing the first aid, learning these life-saving skills through our partners.
No one else is doing this. No one else is trying to link first aid with virtual reality and knife crime and then, you know, stimulating a conversation about it afterwards that is going to resonate with the students and make them not feel like we're patronizing them. Our VR experience will enable the user to choose from different dialogue options that will later lead into different storylines. Every path that they go down will lead them to a different outcome. Say that they're with someone and this person has just been stabbed. Do they call for help or do they apply pressure to the wound? We will be teaching life-saving skills using virtual reality and putting them in a situation where they're going to see why it's necessary, and hopefully it will be something that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives.
Now, this is where the student would then take off the headset, they'd then be doing the first aid, learning these life-saving skills through our partners. We can't deliver this ourselves, but we recognise that other charities can, and why don't we draw upon their expertise and take this into schools? We can also fund that activity, and then the student learns those skills, takes that back into the virtual reality experience in our third part.
It is about enabling people to do something with technology that they haven't been able to do before. And in this case, it's about raising awareness surrounding knife crime. It's about raising the skill set in situations of emergency. It's asking the question, how can technology play a really, really useful part? What I aim to do in relation to this project is to provide, say, expert advice through the lens of psychology or cyber psychology and behavioral science in general. And I think there are a number of things that we can do to make this training, this intervention, as safe and as effective as possible.
So I'm the technical lead for this project and the main programmer for it. I'll be the one who is making everything work in virtual reality, putting in all the dialogue choices. Knife crime is something I've always been aware of growing up. I'm a Nottingham local. I live on the edge of St Anne's, which has got a terrible reputation for being one of the worst for this. And actually I myself did end up in a confrontation a decade ago. That's shocking that me being threatened at 13 is a light incident. And that's why I know how important this project is.
I would say that VR has one particular advantage. It really provides a safe environment because the level of immersion can be calibrated with quite a lot of detail. I think this is very important when we're looking at truly sensitive stuff.
So Stone Soup Academy, our beneficiary school, they already have virtual reality headsets and they already do virtual reality programs. We have the perfect opportunity to take our virtual reality program into the school and show what a prime example of creating empathy looks like and teaching actionable life-saving skills. We can take that and then propagate that into other schools in Nottingham.
Yeah, I think no one expects to watch someone get stabbed. So you know when that happens, I think everyone was the first instant. It's like what's the word?
Panic.
Yeah, but there's some people say like run or do something else.
Or fight or flight.
Yeah, fight or flight. I think that's what comes together straight away.
This project has really given us that opportunity to develop those skills, knowing full well that in the future that might save one of our young people's lives or might save the life of somebody that they're very close to, or in fact, a stranger.
National Justice Museum, which is in Nottingham, tells the story of justice throughout history. The displays that you see here, this is one room in Choices and Consequences. The basic theory behind it is no one is born carrying a knife. So the project that you're doing fills a huge gap in Choices and Consequences and enables young people to know what they need to do, what first aid they need to perform, how to keep themselves safe and also how to keep the victim safe. And it will be a vital part of what we do in this exhibition. When we talked to the wonderful staff at Queen's Medical Centre, they very clearly said they wanted young people to understand there is no safe length of blade and there is no safe place to be stabbed. But actually in teaching them about first aid, you start to teach them about what a knife will actually do to a body when it penetrates a body. And that will, in young people's minds, they'll start to be aware of what that knife can potentially do. So it could be a deterrent because they are aware of the impact that that knife is going to have.
The Python Club is a grassroots organisation that really understands the issues that our young people are facing in the community. We understand the social and personal issues that our young people are facing when it comes to knife crime and antisocial behaviour. We're going to offer advice and support and guidance to the Enactus team to ensure that they are supporting our young people, especially when it comes to the aftercare.
And we have the police coming up to us saying, you know, antisocial behaviour's dropped 80% when we're running our sessions. So we treat them like adults. We give them a voice.
I can see that with our support, this Enactus NTU programme will change lives. It will save lives. And right now, we need to be doing that. We need to be coming together and working together as a team. The longevity of it. The Python Club work in schools, academies, primaries, across the city and the county. And these type of initiatives will be able to be embedded into these kind of educational institutions.
We aren't giving them a presentation. We aren't teaching them just by saying what's good and what's bad. We're teaching them through experience. We're putting them in the shoes of someone that's been involved in knife crime so that hopefully they'll never be in those shoes. Linking virtual reality with empathy training and knife crime and first aid has never been done before.
We can take knife crime, this big scary issue, we can wrap it up in life-saving skills and what it means to save a life, change the narrative, and by doing that, can we alter the self-perception of these young people? Can we make them think, I have the ability to save a life? And if we can change that self-perception just a tiny bit and start talking about community and what it means to save a life, then what will that do to knife crime as an issue?
What is really, really important about this project and really different about this project is the empathy side of it, the involvement of technology and the VR and being able to create scenarios which the students can then be educated on how to deal with those scenarios. You know, when does that ever happen? It just doesn't. So this project has sustainability written all over it. It has scaling up written all over it, because this is something that isn't just about Nottingham and what happens in Nottingham. This is a project that students can be involved in across the country, could even go international, because anywhere where there is issues of knife crime and violence, the idea of being able to deal with that at the moment and the point at which it happens can only be fantastic.